We have it
Commissioner Leonard?
under the mayor's hand.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a reminder to silence your cell phones, which I will do. We'll start with roll call.
Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilor Gurrell.
Here.
Councilor Klink-Cameron. Councilor Lundstrom.
Here.
Councilor Spradlin. Councilor Tyree. Councilor White.
Here.
All right, we'll start with approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting May 8th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Councilor Gurrell.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. We have approval of the minutes. We've all had a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody have any corrections or revisions?
I do.
Okay.
Under mayor and council reports, I've added that Councilor Gurrell reported that the Train the Trainer training was held for the new fire training center over the weekend with quite a few in attendance. And thank you, Councilor Gurrell, for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I'd look for a motion to approve those amended minutes.
Go ahead.
I move that we approve the amended minutes for the regular meeting of April 24th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Councilor Gurrell.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, that motion passes. Next, we have visitors and delegations. Our citizen comments portion, citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. This is a 5-minute time limit. It's the only chance in the meeting you get to address council. Do you have anybody here for that? I don't think so. Okay. We will move to management. First, we have a water advisory board appointments. Lavender or Monty?
I guess just real quickly on the Water Advisory Board appointments is we had some members that their terms expired, and so we had asked for anyone that would have an interest to provide letters of interest to bring those to the Water Advisory Board meeting, the last one, which we had a few of the members who were previously on the board still attended some of those, and then Mayor Sherman went through the process of the interviews or discussions about those individuals, and then she has recommendations tonight on who she'd like to see sit on the board, or Water Advisory Committee board, and so I'll let her explain who the individuals are, and she can get consensus on who she's going to appoint.
Okay. So we have 3 openings. We had 2 letters of interest. First one was Kevin Crook, and the second one was Hunter Bostrom. We discussed them in our advisory board meeting, and they both seem like very good candidates. So we agreed that we would accept both of these 2 members, and it still leaves us with 1 opening if anybody is still interested. So I would like to appoint Kevin Crook and Hunter Bostrom to the Water Advisory Board. And so I guess I would look for a motion on those appointments.
I move that we appoint Kevin Crook and Hunter Bostrom to the Water Advisory Board.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Gurrell.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Very good. Passes. And next we have a historic preservation designation of 210 Clayton Street.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. So a letter was submitted with your packet for a local historic designation recommendation at 210 Clayton Street. Our Historic Preservation Board exists ultimately to preserve our history, of course, in Brush. And as part of that, anyone with a property that would be qualified as a historic one within Brush, and there's qualifications in place in our land use code, who are interested in being locally designated, go through a proper process that begins with a application that goes through the Historic Preservation Board. And so an application was submitted for that property back in January, and we had a couple meetings with the Historic Preservation Board, and they approved the recommendation to bring to City Council to designate 210 Clayton Street as a local historic designation. I'll read this one paragraph real quick, just so it's been spoken. If anybody ever wants to go back and gather some of the history on it, it'll be found here. A brief history anyway. And it's a historical significance. The original building was constructed in 1910 and was owned for decades by members of the Emerson family, a historic community pillar in the first half of the 20th century. However, the building was victim to a fire in the late 1950s or early 1960s when it was then totally taken down. The current building was constructed in 1963, and the historic use of the building served a variety of businesses and organizations through the decades, such as the American Legion and Rexall Drugs, which housed B&B Pharmacy, and as recent as the previous community business, Old Time Country Store. The building was sold in 2022, and the current owners have invested in improvements to the building for the current Brush Emporium and Pizzaporium. So we're asking, as on behalf of the Historic Preservation Board, for City Council to officially deem that property a local historic one.
And I will turn this one over to Larry. I should probably recuse myself. Should I recuse myself as an owner of the building?
Yes.
Yeah. So-
Well, there's only 4 of us here.
So her vote would go with the majority if you abstain from it.
Okay, I guess we need a motion to approve.
Second.
We need a motion?
We need a motion.
Oh, I thought you were asking for, that you were making a motion. My apologies.
He's playing as mayor.
I'm being a little quiet tonight, Larry.
Mayor's busy in mind, okay?
I'll make a motion to the historical preservation designation of 210 Clayton Street.
Second.
Oh.
Conversation.
Conversation. Nope. Okay, roll call vote?
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Gural?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. All right, next we have some proclamations. We have proclamation number 2023-5 in recognition of National Foster Care Month. I will read this one aloud. And then we have Carrie Schmeckel here from the DHS. Proclamation number 2023-5 in recognition of National Foster Care Month. Whereas children are the key to the state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, whereas children have a right to thrive, learn, and grow, whereas foster parents provide the love, safety, and stability that young children need in order to overcome past traumatic experiences in order to reach their full potential. Whereas Colorado foster parents are caring for and nurturing more than 2,000 children and youth in foster care today. Whereas we must come together as a community and recognize the important role foster parents play in caring for children who have experienced abuse and neglect, supporting family reunification, and building strong communities. Whereas there is always a need for more foster parents in order to ensure children, especially older children with complex needs, and siblings have a safe, stable home in their community. Whereas there are numerous individuals, nonprofit organizations, and public servants who are dedicated to raising awareness about the needs of children and youth in foster care, as well as the invaluable contribution of foster parents, and whereas we all play a role in preventing child abuse and neglect. Therefore, as mayor of the city of Brush, I do hereby proclaim May 2023 Foster Care Month. Given under my hand and seal of the city of Brush, the safety of me. And you can come up and say some words there, Carrie.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council and Administration and the City of Brush community for the support that is offered for our foster parents in our community. It's a thankless job. They often answer phone calls in the middle of the night, and it always amazes me how they sound like they were just sitting there waiting for that 3 a.m. call. They take kids in their home without much information. They give them love and safety, and then they more often than not, let them go back to their family when the time is right. So just really wanted to appreciate all that they do, and thank you guys for the support.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
So we just need a motion to, do we pass or put into, was it passing this proclamation or?
Approving the
Approving.
I move we approve proclamation number 2023-5, recognition of National Foster Care Month.
Second.
Any discussion? Very good. Roll call vote.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Guerrero?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Next we have proclamation in recognition of National Police Week.
Okay. To recognize National Police Week 2023 and honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the 14 dedicated sworn members of the Brush Police Department. Whereas, since the first recorded death in 1786, nearly 23,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial, which was dedicated in 1991 in Washington, D.C. Whereas 226 new names of the fallen heroes are added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring for those lives lost in 2022. Whereas the service and the sacrifice of the officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 35th annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2023. Whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 14/20. Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officer Memorial Day in honor of the fallen officers and their families. The U.S. flag should be flown at half staff. Let us honor law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in their performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Let us appreciate and support the courageous deeds of the officers who risk their own lives and well-being every day. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Brush that the Brush City Council formally declares May 14, 2023 as National Police Week in the City of Brush, Colorado. It publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers and the communities across the nation. Given under my hand the seal of the City of Brush this 8th day of May 2023.
Thank you, Larry. I would look for a motion on that one.
I'll make a motion to approve proclamation number 2023-6, the recognition of National Police Week.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Guerrero?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Motion passes. Next we have another proclamation.
Proclamation number 2023-7 in recognition of National Hospital Week 2023. To recognize National Hospital Week 2023 and to honor the service and dedication of healthcare workers nationwide and in our Brush community. Whereas National Hospital Day was created in 1921 as a way to encourage trust in hospitals in the wake of the Spanish flu outbreak of 1918. It was later turned into a week in 1953, coinciding with Florence Nightingale's birthday on May 12th, to honor her role in revolutionizing hospital care in the mid-1800s. And whereas for the past 70 years, hospitals across the country have come together to celebrate its history, technology, and dedicated professionals. And whereas National Hospital Week highlights every hospital, health system, and person involved in keeping our community healthy and providing the structure to deliver health care. And whereas East Morgan County Hospital and its clinics and departments are essential to the Brush community and are trusted to provide top quality care and service. And whereas this week and always, the Brush community extends its gratitude to our heroes in healthcare for their dedication and sacrifice. Therefore, be it resolved that the Brush City Council formally declares May 7th through 13th, 2023 as Hospital Week in the city of Brush, Colorado, and publicly honors the service of healthcare workers in our community and in communities all across our nation where health comes first. Given under the mayor's hand and seal of the city of Brush this 8th day of May, 2023.
Thank you. For a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion to approve proclamation number 2023-7, the recognition of National Hospital Week.
I second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Gural?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. I think Counselor White's probably reading the next one.
Yep. The proclamation number 2023-8, the recognition of National Public Works Week of 2023. The recognition of National Public Works Week of 2023 to honor those serving our community through the efforts of water, wastewater, trash, streets, and stormwater. Whereas the public works professionals focus on the infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities in the public health, high quality of life and well-being of the people of the city of Brush, and whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of the public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees of all levels of government, and the private sector who are responsible for building, improving, and protecting our national transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential to the citizens. And whereas the year 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association. Therefore, be it resolved that the Brush City Council formally declares May 21st through the 27th of 2023 as Public Works Week in the city of Brush, Colorado, and publicly recognizes our public works and utility staff members for their hard work. Given under the hand of the mayor, the seal of the city of Brush this 8th day of May 2023.
Thank you. I'll look for a motion on that one.
I move that we approve proclamation number 2023-8 in recognition of National Public Works Week.
I second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Gural?
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. And we have one more.
Proclamation number 2023-9 in recognition of Economic Development Week to designate the week of May 8th through May 12th, 2023 as Economic Development Week. Whereas economic development is a process that is strengthened by the critical partnerships between economic development professionals and local government leadership to promote a shared vision for developing resilient communities. And whereas economic development promotes economic well-being and quality of life for a community by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic development stimulates and incubates entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas economic development is engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, public-private partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. And whereas economic development attracts and retains high-quality jobs, develops vibrant communities, and improves the quality of life in the region. And whereas the city of Brush is dedicated to creating a vibrant, business-friendly atmosphere and economic development programs and partnerships to support its businesses and the community. Now therefore be it resolved, the Brush City Council formally declares the week of May 8th through May 12th, 2023 as Economic Development Week, and reminds individuals of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding career opportunities and making lives better. Given under the mayor's hand and the seal of the city of Brush this 8th day of May, 2023.
Thank you. I would look for a motion on that one.
Move we approve proclamation number 2023-9 in recognition of National Economic Development Week.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All those pass. We'll move on to finance.
I move we approve disbursements in the payroll for April 25th, 2023 through April 8th, 2023, totaling $761,425.22.
Second.
Any discussion?
Maybe just for the record, you had said April 8th, so I'll say May 8th.
Oh,
Sorry, just for the
I
record.
didn't catch it, yep. Roll call vote?
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom,
yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. And motion passes. We're on to staff reports. We'll start with Tyler Purvis.
All right, 3 items tonight. Number one, just FYI, we had a visit from a representative from Allo Communications back in December, January. I think I mentioned 2 staff meetings ago, or 2 city council meetings ago, that we are in discussions with them again, and we are. Been having frequent communication with them, as has other parts of our staff as well. They're working on their engineering and getting all the elements put together to discuss right-of-ways. At the same time, Viero Wireless has also been in the community and looking to expand their fiber line as well, which is great for competition when you have businesses competing for businesses, because it usually means the best price and best services win. And so they've been looking to extend their line, Viero that is, down Edison Street going east, and so they've been hitting up businesses, including the city of Brush, to at least put in the necessary services to actually basically flip the switch one day if anybody ever wants to do that. So we're glad to see that happening, progress. Obviously, we're a very much data-driven society, and so getting the infrastructure in place matters. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have a planning commission meeting with a variety of different topics. So just putting that out there to city council, because what's going to be on that meeting, I don't know if all of it will, but some of it will immediately follow to city council for their consideration the following meeting, which would be whatever the last meeting is this month.
21st.
It's the planning commission meeting is the day after the final one for May, so it'll be in June.
First time and first meeting in June then. And then the last item, with the Economic Development Week being this week, in light of that, the CARES program, Brush CARES, Community Asset Reinvestment Enhancement Solution, the acronym CARES, that we implemented back in January. So far, we've had 9 businesses apply for that, which is great. We've approved 3 businesses for a total of $14,500. Council put aside $100,000 for that program. A lot of excitement with businesses. Out of those 9, the other 6 that haven't been awarded funds are actually still reviewing those. I don't know if all of them will get approved, but the response has been great from the business community. So shout out to Matt Gordon with the chamber, going door to door to businesses to encouraging them to at least apply for it and see what can come of that. So things are happening. If you drive downtown, it's always exciting to see people working in their businesses, in their buildings, and outside of their buildings. So just a quick update on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Brandon Flecksteiner, Chief of Police.
Nothing major to report. We do have one academy cadet did finish his academy, so we're looking at putting him through final testing phases. So he tests, does a psychological hopefully this week, so hopefully that does well. We'll probably bring him on board probably the 3rd week of May. Our cadet that's in at Flat Rock is graduating on June 2nd, so we should have him shortly. But other than that, it was a relatively busy weekend for us, so we had a lot going on. But any questions if anybody has any?
What was the new pay scale? How'd they feel about it?
Everybody's actually really happy about it.
Cool, good.
I haven't heard any speakings of moving on or moving to other agencies or anything.
Cool.
So I think it helped.
Awesome.
So I appreciate that.
And they'll see the first check this next pay
Yeah,
period.
I was told this next paycheck, so
Cool.
this goes over. So thank you.
Very good.
Appreciate that very much.
Perfect.
Thank you, Chief. Looks like we have Ray. I'll have Tad here. Did you want to give a report on the fire?
Sure. So Tad and I attended FDIC in Indianapolis last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. We signed the contract with something for the ladder truck, so we'll be going to pre-construction in 4 to 5 months. So there is a possibility that we'll receive our truck before Fort Morgan receives theirs. They went under contract 8 months before we did with a different manufacturer, so we're excited about it. So we wish it would be here tomorrow, but it's not, so. As Allison stated at the last council meeting, we did have our train-the-trainer course on the training center. So we had 2 instructors from Oklahoma that are retired from the City of Oklahoma Fire Department that contract with the builder of the training center to come out and conduct those trainings. So we did 5 live fire burns inside the building. And we did go up to 1,000 degrees in the one burn room. So we had a great day of training. So there was 8 of us that attended the training. So, and then I know ever since it's been up, every training night they're out there doing something in it. So it's it was needed and it's being utilized.
To be clear, that doesn't mean that they're burning in it every training night. They're running all types of drills in there.
And so if you didn't know that we had live fire training and you were to drive through the parking lot the day after we had live fire training, the only thing you would have saw was straw that was burned, that was outside of the training center. There was no standing water, there was no nothing. The majority of the water that was put on the ground that day was from the hose connectors leaking. So it's not like we're throwing hundreds of thousands of gallons of water during one of our training burns. And the only material that can be utilized to burn is straw and wood pallets. We cannot burn furniture, we cannot burn any household goods inside that training center. It can only be straw and wood pallets. So there's no hazardous materials that are going onto the ground or that can contaminate anything. So other than that, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Got any new applicants?
So we just brought 2 new members on in the last, so we brought one on the month before and brought one on last month. So we're at 24 members, so I can tell you Fort Morgan, they're at 26.
Nice.
So we're surviving. We did have a structure fire on the Sunday we got back from Indianapolis. We did have one firefighter that sustained an injury. Luckily, it was just a bruise, but it could have been a fatality with what transpired. So they were tagging the hydrant. They had the hydrant ramp, and the engine left. A coupler got hung up in the hose bed. So it basically was a rubber band effect on the LDH, and it unwrapped from the hydrant, which launched a 5-inch Storz coupler in the air and caught our member in the thigh. So, ouch.
He's very lucky.
I made him go to the hospital to be checked out, so everything checked out, so he's back online. So, other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, next we'll have Dale Kulrick, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple items to report. Our street crews cleaned up with our spring cleanup. That was finished. We still got a few more items we need to pick up. I don't have the exact quantities yet, but we'll get a report out to council on what we did pick up. Quite a few mattresses again this year, so quite the stack of work orders. We got that done. Now that they're finished with spring cleanup mostly, we're going to be back out on the streets doing crack fill, patching, and getting back to those activities again. The second item will be over at what we call Meadow Vista Apartments, also known as Brush Village 2 or Brush Commons. is the apartment building that's going in over by Brush Village. We got most of our utilities relocated, so it's just a matter of disconnecting the old utilities and getting them out of the ground and getting out of there. We should be hopefully out of there later this week. And so we'll just turn it all over to KCI Construction and let them have at it. So they were out surveying today, and looks pretty good so far. Everything's kind of clicking together, which makes me nervous always. So I'll take any questions, comments?
Sounds like they earned their money this week. Clean up, huh?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. So
Tired guys.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks.
Miranda Becker.
Just one thing to talk about tonight. I emailed you earlier today about the project here in council chambers, which is 3 parts. We've got the audiovisual update, the technology update, and then the aesthetics update. In talking with Monty earlier, we're not sure how much council wants us to do in here as far as the aesthetics. And so I was looking for some input from council as far as how far to take the aesthetics update or upgrade, and if you even want it to be done. I don't know if you saw the email yet, but it's quite a list of work that I have planned, which includes, you know, the paneling to, I would prefer to remove or replace it, but we can paint over it. New carpet and seating, replace the countertop here at the dais, paint the entire room, replace some ceiling tiles, and then some new window treatments. So I'm looking for direction from you, hopefully tonight, as far as do I continue with the aesthetics and how far do I take it?
I would say let's go forward with it. Let's get out of the 80s, 70s, and 80s and move it to look more modern, like we want the city to move to be more modern and more open for, you know, updated, be better, do better, look better.
I liked all of your ideas, except I don't know that, I think when we were talking about it before, there was something that we could put over the paneling without having to completely take it down, and
There is that option as well, to cover it with
Just
another
cover it
wood
with
surface
a
that's
different paneling.
It's
Doesn't look
probably
like
cheaper
paneling.
to look at something to cover it than, and I don't know if you've ever painted over paneling, it doesn't look good. Looks terrible, so absolutely stay away from painting over it. Either cover it or get rid of it.
I liked all of your suggestions. I thought everything that you put out there was great. I would love to see it more modernized, of course. However, I feel like it's the lowest priority of the things that were on your list that needed to be accomplished, such as audio and visual. So I guess just keeping that in mind, that it comes in last, because it's nice to have pretty shiny things, but if we can get the other things that we need that are more important first.
Okay, and I think with the 48,000 that we have budgeted, I think we could do quite a bit and still come under budget. But yes, we would definitely keep that in the forefront, the big priority.
Yeah, paint and carpet goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Dressing up a.
I agree, though, it'd be nice to get out of the 70s in this room.
Lou, do you want any other, like, more detailed input? Like, before there was like a little subcommittee of the mayor and Dana in the past, and the
Okay.
clerk.
Okay.
Just so when you get to picking colors, like I'm terrible at
It's
picking
not just
colors.
me picking the colors.
Yeah, and so just, and last time we had a interior decorator type person that had gave some suggestions, but I think amongst the council and you, if you wanted to pick a couple, or anyone want to volunteer, at least you guys would have a consensus. And then that way, I'm terrible at picking colors and all this stuff, so.
So if anybody is interested in helping me out with the colors and some different ideas, please just let me know, and we'll probably get together very soon, because I'm feeling the pressure of trying to get all of this done this year, and so I really would like to get this out for bid. I've broken it down into a couple different phases, but we would need to get that out for bid pretty quick.
I would be happy to help, but I do kind of feel like we should have at least one of the guys helping us. At least one of them, because this room is male dominated, and if they have to sit in it, like, I just feel like they should have some input in it.
You don't want all frills English college.
Maybe just one.
I think your taste is good. I'm not too worried about coming in and having a clash with my outfit, so I think it's fine.
We're all wearing black tonight.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I like what Chad said, get it updated, whatever you got budgeted, see how far it goes, you know?
Okay.
Especially like the carpet's pretty rough, and the bigger seats for us bigger guys, I like that too, so, you know.
Well, and the chairs that we currently have out there too, they show the dirt
Mhm.
quite a bit, and our officers can't sit in them. Their duty belts don't accommodate, or the chairs don't accommodate the
They
duty
don't
belts.
accommodate for big people either that want to come in.
Maybe we should,
So-
just have vests on, not belts.
It does.
So-
Unfortunately, the gun
I have to
be
make one recommendation that we
strategic
can't
place,
use
so.
the deputy city clerk. It will be rainbow in here if you use it.
A little tie-dye action.
Like
maybe,
her-
right?
Yeah.
And a pit and a statue of Dale too, we need that, so.
All
That's all I
right.
have to say.
Well, thank you, everyone. That's all I got.
Okay. Dan Crum, city attorney.
I don't have anything tonight unless you guys have questions for me.
Monty Torres.
A few items. One is all the feedback that I had from the Cinco de Mayo, the chamber event. Sounded like it went really well. And just a little bit of history on that is the city and the chamber worked on the Cinco de Mayo probably like 10, 12 years ago. We had it for a few years in a row. There was still money in the coffers from those events, and so I think it was about $3,400 we had left, and so we agreed to let the chamber, since they're putting on the Cinco again, each year $1,000 of that, and to help seed money for their band or entertainment. And everything sounded like it went really well, and I was reminded this was just their second year of bringing it back. Last year was just kind of a trial. They just decided to see what would happen at the library park. And then this year, I think I heard about 650 people maybe, is that the number? So they hope for it to get better and better over the years. Next item is in-house. We are starting to work a little bit on some succession planning and continuity planning. And we do have a few employees that have been here 25, 35, close to 40 years now that have worked for the city of Brush. And so we're just starting to have those discussions about how do we prepare for the future and train up those who are coming behind us to learn a lot of the history and what's happened in the past in those departments. So you'll hear more about that as we get closer to our budget retreat this upcoming year. But leading up to that, we do need to have a council retreat, and that's just a general retreat where we talk about what's going on in the community. We get some feedback or some information from each of the department heads on what they're doing in their departments and what they have planned for the future. And then after that, we have to do a priority setting retreat, and then from that point, we can start working on our budgets for next year. Starting this a little bit earlier than usual. The main reason is on one of our exit interviews, an employee had asked about, is there any way we can start the budgeting process a lot earlier? And that is just so that they have more time in the existing year to plan and put things out to bid to receive for the next year. Because if you wait until January when everything's approved, then a lot of the companies, they've already been bidding out to other communities, and so you're behind a little bit. So it's hard to get on their list. The other thing is from an employee, when we had one of our employee meetings, we talked about anything that we could do to improve. One employee didn't want to say it out loud in front of everyone else, but later came to me and just said, if there's any way that they can understand better earlier what their compensation or pay increases are going to be for the upcoming year, that will help better coincide with when they have to make decisions on their health insurance, in December. So if they don't know what their pay increase is going to be, it's hard to decide which pay plan that they want to go with, if they want to go up or not. So we're going to try and go a little bit earlier this year to get some of those decision points made earlier to help department heads and some of those employees. And so I was going to throw out there, we might start thinking about when are we going to have the next council retreat, and sometime after CML is what I was thinking, because CML, when the council members attend that, you get new ideas. And so I thought right after CML might be a good time to have a council retreat. And probably 2 to 3 hour retreat is what we're looking at. So we'll, as we get closer, we'll just remind council and we'll kind of lock in a date. That's all I have.
Thank you, Monty. Mayor and council reports. Do any councilors have anything they'd like to share?
Mentioning CML, I don't think this happened last year. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because my memory sucks, but it's actually going to be during one of our regular meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Did that
It
happen
goes Sunday
last
to
year?
Wednesday. It
Yes.
usually went Tuesday to Friday,
Mm-hmm.
but this year they changed it Sunday to Wednesday.
Oh, interesting.
So it's actually going to override that second meeting of June. So I just didn't know if everyone was aware of that and thought I'd bring it up.
So far, we just have Mayor Sherman and Councilor Gorell registered.
What?
Not that any of us would be in the pool.
Register for CML?
CML, have you registered?
I thought I did.
Talk to me. Okay. Any other councilors? I don't have anything. I would look for a motion to adjourn so that we can end our work session.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So we're adjourned. We will go into our work session.
Everyone's ready? I'll go